Welcome to On the Patio with Proc. My first guest is Bakare from McNeese Wallace in Newark. Ade, welcome.
Thanks, Proc. Happy to be here.
So just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and your background.
So briefly, I was born in D.C. My dad's a physician. He was at Howard Medical School. When he finished medical school, he came up to Harrisburg for his first job. So the family moved up here when I was about 5. So I grew up in the area, out in Susquehanna Township. So I'm pretty much local Harrisburg kid. Went away to school, went down to school in Philadelphia, went to a couple different cities in my 20s, and moved back here in 2008. So I've been working here as an attorney since then.
Nice. Now you are a member of the Harrisburg Young Professionals.
I am.
Tell us a little bit about that group and how you think that could help the other young professionals in the Harrisburg area.
So HYP is a great organization. I joined HYP when I moved back to the area. And even though I grew up here, I've been away for some time. So when I moved back, I was almost a stranger in my own city, as weird as that may sound. So HYP for me was a way to kind of reconnect and, meet some people, get to know some of the players in Harrisburg at that point in time. And it's really, the group is focused on making Harrisburg a better place to, as they say, live, work, and play. And they really take a holistic approach of looking at social issues, professional development, and just friendship, and just connecting young people and giving them a place to meet like-minded people doing the same sorts of things, trying to find their way, trying to advance their professions, meet people, grow, and network. So I used it as a platform for all those activities, and I met what are now some of my best friends through the organization, and I think many people would say the same. So for me, nothing but positive things to say about HYP as an organization. I owe a lot to the organization.
That's awesome. Thanks. Also, tell us about your professional life, how you became, a lawyer at McNeese Wallace in Newark, and tell us about the LEAP program that you started with McNeese Wallace in Newark.
So how I became a lawyer, probably because I asked too many questions. I think some people would say that I kind of enjoy conversations, maybe even arguing. I would call them conversations. But, all throughout my youth, I always enjoyed a good debate. I like to read, so I was naturally inclined towards the skills that typically lawyers are known for. So I gravitated in that direction. And so once I went to law school, I realized I really did enjoy just the academic side of law, as well as the almost competitive side of it. I grew up playing sports, and law in some ways is you're trying to advocate for your client against the other attorney, and in that sense you're trying to win. And so I enjoy that day-to-day competitive aspect of the business, and I also enjoy the fact that every day when I wake up, I'm helping my clients, I'm helping people sort of grow their businesses, helping people sort of navigate complicated rules and regulations that they wouldn't otherwise be able to understand. So it's a very rewarding profession in that sense. Speaking of rewarding, that goes hand in hand with LEAP. So as you know, 2020 was a difficult year on many different levels, and my colleagues and I at McNeese, we were sitting down thinking about all of the events of the year, the George Floyd murder and the COVID, the disparate impacts on African Americans throughout the pandemic. And our firm has always had a very communal or community-oriented aspect to it. We're very focused on making sure that we give back to the community in a variety of different ways. But we felt as though even though we generally are engaged in various community activities, we needed to do something more because of this moment. We just realized that there's a realization that although we all know that racism is there, the events of this year really emphasize the fact that there's still a lot of work to be done. And I think that people across the country, even some that mistakenly thought perhaps we had already addressed these issues realized that, wait a second, we actually still have a lot of work to do. So in that vein of thinking, we came up with this program that we call LEAP, the Legal Equity Advancement Program. And what LEAP is it's designed to help connect or bridge the gap between the African American business population in Harrisburg, or business community, particularly the entrepreneurial community, and our law firm and other law firms like ours. The way that it works is we put out a call for applications in November. We got applications in December. We're currently under a review process. We're going to select 5 winners towards the end of February, and each of those 5 winners is going to get a $50,000 retainer from the firm, which will provide pro bono legal services for each of those 5 businesses for the duration of the year. And so we're really excited about it. We think it's going to really help grow some Black-owned businesses in the local area. And by local area, we're talking about the whole central Pennsylvania region. The program was open to the 8-county region in central Pennsylvania. So we're looking forward to going through the application process, selecting the winners, and sort of hoping that this program serves as a catalyst for other companies to embark on similar programs and similar efforts throughout the region.
The LEAP program is a good program. How many applications did you receive? Did you receive?
About 81.
81.
Yeah.
81.
So obviously, it shows how much the African American community in this area, the Black community, is working. I mean, people are out there trying to grow businesses, trying to advance themselves in the community, and so we're just thrilled to be able to be part of that process and help realize the goals for at least part of that community. And the thing is, what we realize is now that we put out the call for applications, just by virtue of the number that we got back, it shows that there's so much more to be done. And so we're going to be taking our program and talking to other community partners and trying to hopefully connecting others to that need, and trying to find other partners that will help guide some of the businesses that we can't necessarily help because we can only do so much. But now that we know that there are so many applications, there's clearly a void that's not being filled. And so we think that this just shows how much the community could benefit from this program, and how much energy and potential there is in the Black community in the Harrisburg area. So for us, it's just a really exciting time, and we're just happy to be a part of what I hope will be a great and beneficial program.
Well, on behalf of minority-owned businesses in the state of Pennsylvania, in the central Pennsylvania area, we thank you for that. One last thing, you got engaged.
And now we're getting personal, but yeah, I did get engaged.
Tell us about that.
I got engaged. My girlfriend is well, my fiance now, I suppose, is also local. We've been together for a little over 2 years. We met right at Monjaquie, not far from here. So last September, we sort of, let's just say we braved COVID, and we took a little trip and went to a beach and took a walk on the beach in the morning. And I had known that, this is what I wanted. So decided this is the time, and did it traditionally, got down on one knee and everything. And fortunately, she said yes.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And thanks for coming out. We appreciate you on the first segment of On the Patio with Proc. Hope to hear from you soon. Good to see you. Thanks, brother.
Always a pleasure.
We invite you to bring your business to the borough of Stilton. Our downtown redevelopment will bring new retail, office, and housing in addition to the already available commercial spaces. So why is the Stilton Borough right for your business? Stilton Town Center benefits from a 10-year, 100% tax abatement for development and improvements, affordable purchase and lease opportunities in our downtown locations, plus it's just minutes from downtown Harrisburg and major interstates. Our town leadership has a strong vision for business and residents alike. We're developing new housing and recreation attractions, and we also have great events. To find out how to be part of Stilton's rebirth, contact the borough offices at 717-939-9842. Tonight we have another segment of On the Patio with Proc. My special guest this evening is Mr. Richard H. Utley, publisher of Black Business Director of Central Pennsylvania. Mr. Utley, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
I'm glad to come here and chit-chat with you for a few minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Utley, tell us about yourself.
I've been in Harrisburg a long time. I originally came from Pittsburgh. I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh, and I got to Harrisburg and said I wasn't going to stay here long, and I've been here a long time. I had a state job, and I've been very fortunate in my state jobs. I retired as a Deputy Auditor General for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I've been a lobbyist for Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, and after I retired, I decided I wanted to do a number of things. And one of the things that I wanted to do is that I created the Central Pennsylvania Black Directory. A friend of mine in Pittsburgh had the Pittsburgh Directory, and there was one in Erie, and at first she came here and she was going to start it. And she had it 1 year and it went dormant, and then one time we were talking and she said, her name was Connie Portis, and she said to me, why don't you do a Central Pennsylvania Black Directory? And I was a little hesitant, and I talked to some people and they said, I don't know if you should do that or not, but I decided to do it. So I ended up putting my money up and got a friendship with another person, Marsha Blessing of Orson, the publishing company, and her and I talked and we kicked it off, and it's been 10 years.
10 years.
Yes.
10 years, Central Pennsylvania Black Business Director.
One of the things I have tried to do that's a little different from the one that was in Pittsburgh and Erie. There used to be a lot of those directories, but as time progressed on, they have not fared well. I've been very fortunate because I've had a lot of community support, and since I have a lot of community support, it's been able to survive. One of the things I've tried to add to it is Black history, because I think that we need to know those things. This year's Sappins, I focus more on the whole institutional slavery, some other things. 1 year I did doctors in Central Pennsylvania. Another year I did historical sites that you may not be aware of in Central Pennsylvania. You might not be aware that there was a cemetery in Perry County. I believe in education and history, and I think if we don't tell our story, then no one else will tell our story. So I'm very passionate about that directory.
That's awesome. It's a great piece of information here. Again, the Black Business Director of Central Pennsylvania. Now, previously we had Bakare on from Manise Wallace and Norwich.
Yes.
He discussed the LEAP program. He stated that he reached out to you regarding the LEAP program. He explained what the LEAP program was. Explain the significance of the LEAP program, especially pertaining to what you have here in the Black Business Directory.
I mean, when he reached out to me and we did a Zoom call to talk about it, I saw where his law firm wanted to do some things for Black businesses in Central Pennsylvania. One of the problems is, it's one thing to say you want to have a business. It's another thing to really get it started and to survive. And a lot of times you want to have a business, you may not know how to fill out the corporation papers, you may not know how to fill out the loan papers, you may not know how to do a business plan. So a lot of times we have vision, but we have either no knowledge or no finances in order to do it. So when I met with them and they talked about it, one of the things that their initiatives that they wanted to do, they wanted to help Black businesses out, so they were going to go out and give them some legal help. I mean, unfortunately, especially for black businesses, a lot of times we either don't know how or we don't have the opportunity to get the financing that somebody else can get. I mean, you would be surprised at things you might have done 10 years ago or 8 years ago and not realize it may affect your business, whether it's credit or whether it's credibility. I'm a big believer, and I've always been a big believer. In order to help the minority community out, then one of the things that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to develop black entrepreneurs. I am totally convinced of that. We have to help ourselves in order to help others. So we have to get businesses that we can hire people, and reason I say that, and people say that to me sometimes, well, isn't that kind of racist? No, it's not racist, because I believe in that we need to come to the table as as equal partners. And sometimes people do things that they shouldn't do when they're young. So if they get a little record, then a lot of times you don't get a job because they say you have a record. But you need an opportunity. You need another try. So I think that if you're in a black business, or if you want to establish that, you kind of understand. I mean, sometimes you got to understand where you come from. It's easy to sit on the other side and say, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that. But I think you have to sometimes be in those footsteps or know somebody that's gone through it. So I'm a big believer, I'm a big encourager of, we have to support minority businesses. And I believe in giving us an opportunity. And sometimes we do screw up, I would admit that. But don't punish us because we screwed up. Give us another chance. I mean, we give other people chances. Sometimes I just think that we're hard on ourselves, and I think we have to do a little better job of being a little bit more sensitive. And not only sensitive, but I think if young people you'll be surprised, young people look to see what you're doing and where you're going. And it's one thing to talk the talk, but it's another thing to walk the walk. And I think that that's why it's important to show young people that you could be entrepreneurs, but you have to have a vision.
One last thing.
Sure.
You said that you were a state deputy auditor general.
Yes.
How significant was it to see Mr. Tim DeFore sworn in yesterday as Pennsylvania State Auditor General to you?
For me to work for a number of auditor generals and to know that when you go into the reception room and you see nothing but old, basically whites, to know that there is going to be an African American's portrait that will sit in the receptionist room, there will be Tim DeFore. I think it's significant for three reasons. I think it's one, I think it's historical. I think two, it can be a beacon in terms of no more different than we're celebrating tonight, the Vice President of the United States being a woman of color, all of that. So it's significant, because I think that one of the things we have to do is about role models. People have to see people in certain positions, so they want to do that. And I think that what it'll do for us, it'll stop telling people that we all have to be football players or baseball players or basketball players, but you can do other significant things in your life that are accomplishments.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Utley. Thanks for joining me on the patio with Proc.
No problem.